Nah, I done grew up around some people living their life in bottles. Granddaddy had the golden flask, back though bigger day in Chicago. Some people like the way it feels, some people want to kill their sorrows.
Yeah, okay, I'm ready, let's go. I was just enjoying the conversation.
Started. Anyway, welcome back everybody. We are into the draft for Daraya Esports versus Ace Gaming. We jumped in a little bit late on the draft here, but we do have a Reza and Samuel band by the side of Ace Gaming, as well as a Kinetic and Anka band from the side of Daraya Esports. First pick, Tony, goes over to the side of Ace, and once again with North America picking up this Finn. For percentages speaking, Finn has 100%. Not worked out very well for North America. However, Hammers were able to pick up one game with some excellent plays coming out of Ali Peterson. Now, the Tony Fortress combo here on the side of Ace, that's a pretty potent early game gank duo, and I expect to see Ace capitalize on that here early on.
Yeah, if they follow up, they're following up with what seems to potentially be a mid lane Vox end. The previous game that they played against Hammers, it didn't quite work out. No, it's been switched over so far. It will end up most likely being a bottom lane Vox on weapon power, which is really strong right now. One of the top 2-3 bottom lane carries right now. Looking at the bans though, what I have noticed, DeiNomine, Samuel has been consistently banned in every single draft, I believe, by Ace Gaming, which is really interesting. I would definitely like to, you know, kind of find out potentially why they are banning it every single game, what seems to be. As we do look through the rest of the draft, it's a Celeste pickup by Daraya Esports, and then a Flicker. So this is a Flicker, Lorelei, Finn, and Celeste so far from Daraya. The comp isn't quite, at least initially doesn't seem to be quite heavily meshed together, but Flicker could be a key hero in stopping a heavy engagement coming out from Tony and Fortress, because that slow ability that comes out from the I believe the Binding Light, it is the B ability, really helps to. No, sorry, that's the A ability. Yeah, Fairy Dust, my apologies. Can really help slow down an engagement and give it a little bit more space and room for Celeste to hard carry, because I feel like it's going to be a hard carry Celeste. But with the last pick coming out from Daraya and a Glaive Varia, last two picks come out from Ace, which means it's most likely going to be a support Fortress, and then a jungle Glaive and a top lane Tony, which is definitely interesting. Sky could be a good pick as the last pick coming out for Daraya Esports. Seems like there's been a small issue, so we'll look to get this draft set up and get the parties in as quickly as possible. So looking at the draft so far, DeiNomine, I do think Ace again have a bit more of a synergized composition that's kind of quite dive heavy, hard engage. Vari is the kind of hero that can be very hard in her engagement with the kit that she has. So, you know, with the counter comp that is coming out from Daraya, bar their last pick, you know, I think that actually goes towards them. But if they don't pick another hard carry on their team, like a Sky, like even a Ringo, that they will potentially falter if Celeste is their only hard carry.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. We should be ready to get back here into this game. Obviously, we'll be able to fly through the draft pretty quickly. I mean, that's no big deal. Definitely like the draft that the side of Ace Gaming has put together so far. Like you were mentioning, you know, the Samuel is getting banned by them pretty consistently, and that's because Samuel is pretty outrageous right now. Drifting Dark is pretty strong.
Yeah, so, that's true. That's true.
Even aiming a couple updates back, where overdriving the Drifting Dark no longer increased the speed that it moved. That was actually like the beginning of a really huge buff for Samuel, and he's really been relevant ever since. And it's very difficult to challenge him because even when he's attacking, he has the ability to kite around because he's not locked down into a casting animation like someone like a Celeste is, or a Scarf, who even has that split second that he can't move because he's shooting the Spitfire. You know, and that's one of the things that makes Samuel so versatile, is his ability to move around the fight and just rain in damage from anywhere. Looks like the side of Daraya Esports, they have spotted out some vision. They're going to go ahead and clear that out. And they're all grouped together here as 5, but we do see Glaive is kind of poking his head out in the other side of the jungle. Flicker and Rona could have an advantage over him early on. He has gone with his Afterburn first, so not going to have that to escape, and he might actually have to watch his whole half of the jungle get taken here. Ace is going to get chased away from that crystal treant there as Ninja Raphael goes ahead and picks that one up and is going to clear out the lower half of the jungle.
Yeah, so Daraya Esports, I know a little bit about them. I've actually played against them a couple of times, and they're a team that have a lot of synergy, a lot of confidence in their own gameplay. Even though they are, you know, they're a relatively new team overall, especially even as an orc within Vainglory, they're kind of new, but they are a team that are making waves across the semi-competitive scene within Vainglory. They're competing in NACL, they've competed in various other tournaments. They are really working hard to make a name for themselves, so I'm really excited to see how they fare up against this really experienced, this really strong Ace Gaming side. You know, I want to talk about the last pick that came out from Daraya Esports because he seemed to miss it as it went into the loading screen. They went for Rona. Rona's going to work really well with the Flicker, is going to work really well with the Lorelei, and he's going to create a strong front line to give space for Celeste. Even though I mentioned that they potentially would have wanted to pick a hard backline like a Sky, like even a Ringo. You know, going for, you know, Rona, that's going to do a lot of damage. And with not the strongest amount of CC coming out from Ace Gaming, it could be time for Rona. It could be time for Rona to shine in this game and work well with the rest of the Daraya team. Time will tell, though. 2 3/4 minutes into this game, the goal difference is fairly similar to DeiNomine. It's early game, but we do see a bit of a dive coming out from Ace Gaming.
Yeah, they found a little bit of damage here as the Fortress ends up picking up the kill onto Celeste. First blood on the board for Ace Gaming, starting to get a ever so slight gold lead, but it gives them the opportunity to now rotate as a pair or even as a trio through the jungle and try to get a little bit of gold off of that. Nation actually takes quite a bit of damage to Lorelei, but trades just as much back. So overall, still fairly even here. Does look like Daraya Esports getting a little bit more of that jungle stolen away from Ace. So pretty good plays out of this team so far. Nation is down here with Tassa. I don't think they can find the kill onto Ace here. But they are going to proxy the wave there just a little bit. It's going to help Vox get into a comfortable situation in his wave. He has topped himself up on health. That Book of Eulogy is definitely helping. He does have that flask ready to go. In fact, the only one with the flask down right now is the Glaive and actually the Finn as well. So definitely could see some exciting fights break out here. We have the weapon buff picked up on the Rona, and she's quite scary with that one.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, Rona will get the better of Glaive overall in this early game in that top lane, so that's going to give potentially, you know, it should give Daraya Esports, if they play right, a bit of freedom to move about. I would like to see a little bit more, you know, rotations as a 4 or 5 man team, but in saying that, Rona is now rotating potentially to... No, he's not quite rotated down to mid lane. He could rotate down to mid lane, like I mentioned. Would like to see more, just to give a bit more freedom, a bit more space, and a bit more of a challenge onto Varia, because you don't want to give Varia that much space to nominate. You don't want to let her ramp up that much. You want to try and shut her down. She can be similar to Celeste in the sense of give her a couple of items and she will cause a lot of damage in a team fight. So, you know, I do hope that Daraya Esports do recognize this a little bit. They're waiting in the bushes though, DeiNomine.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Doesn't look like anything is going to come of it except for Ace starting up this Treant. Splinter does see it going on, but can they really stop it? They're poking their heads in and out. Does look like it's going to go over to Ace. That one's going to go on to the Daraya. And the side of Daraya Esports, they're just going to go back to their own thing. They're taking away the Crystal Treant from the enemy jungle, so even trade it back and forth between the two of them there. Glaive has found himself a Rona and a Flicker, but I don't think that's where he wants to be. Looks like Darkwan is on his way over. We had 2-on-2 breaking out here. One kill is going to go over to Tony and Daraya as they find the Lorelei. Puts 2 kills on the board now for the side of Ace. Ghostwing has spawned. I think with the draft coming out of Ace, I do think they're going to play a little bit more passive towards the dragon objectives. Just, you know, the Daraya takes a lot to come online. Glaive with the build he's going to take quite a bit of time to come online. Same with Vox, and realistically, same with Tony with the build path he's going. So they don't have quite the objective control that they would like, and in fact, Daraya Esports, quite a bit of damage there on that top turret. Ace, they have rotated over to get this early Ghostwing, and thanks to their vision control, they're going to get it uncontested.
Yeah, that's just kind of, you know, right now it's Daraya, you know, showing their potential lack of experience, not really reading the map that well. They should have noticed that, you know, not many of Ace Gaming were visible on the map, so the conclusion being is they're going for Ghostwing. You've got to be aware of that. You've got to be able to read the map, read where the enemy is around the map, and then react around it and react towards that. So I'd like to see that coming out from Daraya a little bit more. However, you know, Ghostwing is in the favor of Ace. It's up to them to now take full advantage of that with a little bit of hard engagement going down in mid lane. As you do see now, Ace looking to secure the Crystal Treant and maybe even force a small engage as they are a 4-man team.
Yeah, they might find the fight here. Celeste is going to make it out. However, the Finn quite slow, not quite able to get out of harm's way. I would like to see Ace try to get a little bit more objective control with the last little remainder of this buff. As we see, Celeste is very low, and here it actually comes. There it is, the kill going over to Ace. That one's going to be on the Daraya Shanana. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but definitely gonna try to get this rotation up top here. Can they find the Flicker? Here it is, Ace grouping as 5. There it is as the last of their buff drains out. But now they're in a position where they can start to force these waves up. They were able to get the bottom turret, which is good for them, but now they have to be a little bit cautious. Ace here is down here, and he does have a captain wave coming in. Lorelei, pretty decent at taking turrets, not the greatest, but can definitely chip away at it. Darkwan showing his presence, letting Ace here know that Ace Gaming is on the way.
Yeah, Daraya, if you compare, at least initially, you know, Daraya compared to Jenners and Hammers, they're being a little bit, you know, a little bit kind of linear in how they're approaching the game. They're sticking in the lane. Lorelei isn't really rotating that much, and this is giving Ace Gaming a lot more freedom to push the waves, push the enemy team, and get the kills in the process. And overall, that's going to give them a stronger advantage, as we do see happening. They're 6-0. DeiNomine, that says it all. They are currently I believe just over 4k gold ahead. They're now look to shut Rona down. Leonardo is close to being taken out. So overall, Ace are getting a stronger advantage. They're looking to build up and cause a bit of a snowball effect. If you look at the build paths, Nation has got that Serpent's Mask, which is pretty optimal as the first item coming out from Vox. We'll look to build into Breaking Point and then ramp up those stacks as Tassa shuts down and takes out Rona.
Yeah, absolutely. However, Rona did have enough gold to purchase the breaking point. And this is really where Rona does start to get scary usually. Yeah. I will, however, go ahead and throw out the fact that usually after the Serpent's Mask, Rona has both upgraded boots to some extent, which we do see here out of the Rona, but no defense. Not limited defense. There's no defense on this one right now. She's doing all damage, and if Rona doesn't survive, Tassa almost gets taken down there, dodges out that Solar Storm, and he's going to make it out alive, and in fact, he's still kind of sitting around the outskirts of this fight, and I think that's smart of him. You know, as a Tony, you know, if you can come in even on low health, if you die but you get a key stun that can help your team, you know, win the rest of the fight, or even, you know, help delay the fight long enough that your team can get a turret, that's really kind of one of the risks you take. You know, as a melee hero, you know, you have to be willing to take that risk for your hyper carry. So I do like that Tassa didn't just back out. He stuck around, hung out with the team there.
Definitely, I do want to see Leonardo picking up Atlas as quickly as possible. The reason why is because Nation is going to be the focus. Has to be the focus of being shut down if Daraya are going to give themselves any chance in this game, because he's already got Serpent's Mask breaking points, so he's just going to be kiting and building up stacks. Fortress, sorry, not Fortress, Flicker, Tony, and even Stess as a 5-man team, they have to engage hard and shut down Vox as quickly as possible. If they do that, they will give themselves a pretty solid chance to get back into this game. And I feel like something like the Mooncloak is going to be the trigger point for Daraya doing that. So they've just got to communicate, make sure that when that comes up, when that is off cooldown, that they can take advantage of it. However, a bit of an engagement up in the top lane between both teams. We're looking to rotate up there as Blacklaw has spawned. It's going to be hiding in the bush, but a scout cam by Daraya Esports will make them aware of that.
Yeah, I agree, and so far we have more of a utility glaive going on here, which fits what Ace needs. Yes. I think I'd like to see a pulse come out of this glaive, though, as we've got a fight breaking out here. Bada Boom is going to hit Michelangelo. Leonardo taking quite a bit of damage. Silence comes through. Mortal Wound is onto Vox. Fortress is very low, but first kill goes over to the side of Ace. Second kill, third kill to follow. Can they pick up all 5? There's 4. There's the ace coming for Ace Gaming. They have all 5 standing. Looks like they're going to go ahead and take this Black Claw now. They're going to obviously be able to get it uncontested at this point. And there's, you know, even with Celeste coming up, there's no Solar Storm available. So they've got this. I don't think they're in a position where if they get this Black Claw, they're going to close out the games like they have done in the previous games tonight. But they definitely are going to get a good push, and they're really going to put Daraya Esports into a much more uncomfortable situation. More so than it already is. You know, Ace, they've got themselves a 7k gold lead. They're sitting up 12-0. But Daraya, they're at points in their build that they can hold this push off if they do it right. And doing it right is really protecting the Celeste. She's got the Dragon's Eye. She's got a Shadow Glass. Has the damage. What she doesn't have, though, is the clockwork that we see on the Celeste. That ability to spam out her abilities. And that is kind of one of the downfalls I'm seeing on this team right now, is Celeste doesn't have that ultimate spam ability that we're used to seeing out of her. She doesn't have that unlimited energy that we're used to seeing out of a Celeste at this point. Essentially unlimited, it's not really unlimited.
Well, yeah, and it's also, you know, what we forget, what some people can forget about as the Solar Storm did come out, not quite getting the Ghost Ring, did take a little bit chunk of damage, is, you know, the clockwork with that, you know, the spamming of the Helios is that it can zone the enemy team. It can zone Ace to only be able to engage in the position that is best for Daraya. So yes, the Dragon's Eye is going to be able to build up stacks, but if 1, you're being shut down, and 2, you're not really aiding your team to be in the best position, those stacks aren't going to be worth anything, but time will tell. And also, let's not forget, Celeste hasn't got Broken Myth, and with shielding coming out of various members, including Aegis on the glaive, that CP damage coming out from Celeste is also going to be slightly negated, as we do see top lane with Leonardo and Michelangelo working together on glaive. However, in the bottom lane, we are seeing Ace Gaming pushing this wave as a 4-man team.
Yeah, absolutely. They're hammering in onto this turret here as Daraya, they look like they found themselves a little bit of grasp there, but unfortunately it looks like the Celeste is not going to be able to build up the stack she was hoping to. Now, they were able to defend off the turret. They weren't able to get a pick of their own, and in fact, Ace was winning out on that trade, as they should with the lead and composition that they have. We do have an Aegis and tier 3 boots, those journey boots now to the Glaive, and he's going to be looking to make these aggressive engages. Here comes the side of Ace. Can they pick up the kills? Michelangelo is getting out alive here on this flicker. Ace here is going to get out as well, but Finn, oh boy, oh so close with the River Troll. All 5 members of Daraya Esports in the Ninja Turtles here are gonna make it out safely, but only by a little bit. We don't have any dragons on the map right now, but we do have a glaive chunking away at this top turret.
Yeah, just might be able to keep that top turret alive. The afterburner comes out, so he's going to be able to just keep that nice block by Rona.
But here comes the rest of Ace. Rona, can you make it out of here? You see Tassa and the rest of Ace turning their attention onto that front line, and that is going to be a pick now for the side of Ace. Mooncloak comes out a little bit late, and now Ace, they have control, and Blackclaw is landing back on the map.
Yeah, Blackclaw, this is going to be the time for Ace to shine. They're going directly for it, no hesitation. This is what I like to nominate. Some teams, you see them hesitating, you see them going on, should we, shouldn't we? No, this is confidence and, conformity by Ace just to go for it, to get it done. It's 5v4, as you do see.
Oh, Glaive comes in over the wall. He's getting a couple hits onto the left. Daraya has even abandoned the Blackclaw at this point. Tony picks up a kill on the flicker. Celeste is down as well. The River Troll is going to fall. That's going to be 3 on the board for Ace. And while I do like that they dropped Blackclaw, I do think with the positioning of the fight, I think they should have hung one person around just to tether Blackclaw a little bit. Perhaps Varia stay a little bit longer and see if the team needed her to jump that wall, because once she uses that arc person, she's hitting enemies on the other side of the wall regardless. So I think I would have liked to see Varia hang on to the aggro. It would have sped up their process, as well as potentially could have stopped, anybody that wasn't in that fight for the side of Daraya Esports could have snuck around and taken that Blackclaw. It only had a sliver of health left, and they did drop all focus on it. But I think Ace, they're ahead enough at this point, 16-0. Pretty massive gold lead here. They've got a pretty healthy Blackclaw marching into the base, and they're forcing the enemy out now. This one's going to be going over to Ace, but not before padding their scores a little bit. They pick up 2 more kills there. I'd even be looking for another one, but healing platform just a little too strong for Ace right now.
Well, you're really right about that one. As Ace closed out that game quite confident, but what I like about this Ace team is that, and this is always part of, becoming a better team, it's reading your enemy and reacting to how good or bad your enemy is playing. It's not necessarily disrespecting the enemy, but it's going, okay, well, we don't believe they're going to go towards Blackclaw. We don't believe they're going to look to take Blackclaw. So we can go with a full man team, ignore the Blackclaw, and secure that team fight, and then secure the Blackclaw. Whereas if this was a better team, with all due respect to Daraya Esports, or a team in a better position than Daraya were in, then I believe Ace would have hung around, would have kept a hero around the Black Claw to either secure it or just keep it within their sights a little bit more. But, you know, if you look at Ace, the amount of shielding they had on their team as a 5-man team, 2 of them had Aegis full on. The other 3 had shield. No broken myth coming out from Raphael. He was doing nothing. 0 and 5. The Celeste was just not able to really do that core hyper carry damage. You know, I liked the idea and I got where he was going with the Dragons I second item, but in practice it just didn't work out because of all the shielding that came out from Ace Gaming. You know, overall experience and you know, expertise got the better of Daraya, and I do hope that they will go into the second game learning a lot and reacting towards that, because I know that they are a promising young team to nominate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and get Suli to get us into the drafting for the next game. Definitely exciting to see Daraya Esports here. I mean, it is quite a tough opponent that they're up against. And, you know, I do feel like we kind of expected it to go this way. I do think Daraya has a lot of potential, though, having watched how they draft and how they played within the game. I would like to see for game 2 them going a little bit more damage threat instead of 2 actual captains. I do think that is one downfall they made here. Typically, when we see the Flickers excel, you know, they've got a Storm Crown or an Aftershock early and help make some of those bursty early game ganks. And just due to the build path, we never really saw that kind of potential come out of Flicker. Yes, we had the contract there. Yes, you can proc that Dragonblood's contract for a slow and some extra damage. But it's not the same as having that additional cooldown, having the Aftershock proc that Flicker can actually proc pretty easily with the low cooldown on his A and B. So, you know, definitely want to see him a little bit more damage into that kind of off roll. But yeah, we'll have Suli get us into the next draft, and we'll see where we go with that.